Have him on, so let's check it out. Man, let's welcome Theo Franca. He's joining us fresh from the GA Cup. We really appreciate you getting on with us and telling us your story and a little bit about the GA Cup experience.
So, guys, this is Theo Franca, straight from Orlando City. It's a pleasure to be here. I feel like J-Cup was as most people would say, a fun, really, really good experience. But especially for me, I feel like J-Cup was a tournament to show me where my level is right now because of most international teams coming in, some MLS teams that we've never played before. So I feel like it showed me a lot, and I feel like it was a positive J-Cup because for most games I feel like my level was with the teams or not higher than the teams. So I feel like it was a very good J-Cup.
That makes a lot of sense, man. That's a great way to kind of look at those type of high level events. Can you tell us a little bit about your time with Orlando City? How'd you get started with them?
I've been in the academy right now for about 3 years. It's my third year. I joined from a club called Idea Sports down in Orlando. Shout out Idea Sports. But it was I remember my first call up was when I was 11 years old, and my parents, which I didn't even know about, my parents rejected it. They said I wasn't ready yet, and I remember I was playing at Ronaldo Academy at that time. I was like a really big guy. I was like 11, standing at 5'8". Like I've always been very tall. So I feel like that's one thing that stood out the most. But as I turned 13 on my 13th birthday, we had a scrimmage versus Orlando, and we lost 8-0. So the next day, they called me again, and then this time our parents were like, "Yeah, I think it's time." So I went, made a 1 week trial, and boom, I made the team automatically. So starting from the first season, everything went great. Second season was kind of my pop out season, I think so, with the U15s. I got called up for the second team at that age. I was like the youngest one for the second team, and ever since then, it's been going smooth.
Yeah, I seen that, and that's when I started paying attention, man. And you're a really like dynamic, forward. Where do you where does that come from? Like,
Um, so none of my parents like played soccer ever. My dad wasn't really into soccer much, but he always knew a lot about soccer. Like, he had very good soccer knowledge. So I noticed that ever since I was little, like I said, I was above average in height, and but there was always like I always loved doing everything. I was very adventurous, athletic, everything I did. So ever since I was little, I think it was just born with. I was just born with it. If I see a tree, I'd go and climb a tree, jump over the like jump. So so I feel like my two biggest aspects of the game are my speed, my vertical. So I feel like especially in this GA Cup, I scored two headers. So I feel like it was basically I was born with it, I'd say.
no, yeah, no, you're definitely super athletic, but you're definitely, on top of being athletic, usually when you see kids who are big, like really quick, sometimes they don't develop technically. You're
Mm.
really, a very balanced player technically. Do you think that came from? Did that develop in Orlando City? Or did you grow up playing futsal? What were some of the other things you did for training?
I think for sure Orlando City played a big part in it because my playing style when I joined was completely different. I joined I've always been a striker, but for some reason when I joined, they first put me as a right winger. So
Hmm.
that's when I kind of had to develop my technical ability a little bit more. But I remember our striker got injured, and I hopped in for striker for the next 4 games, and I scored 5 goals. So
Wow.
that's when they kind of like put me, yeah, that's when they kind of put me over in the striker position. But for sure, like before Orlando City, I don't remember being this technical. So I feel like Orlando City played a really big part.
Yeah, so that's something we've been hearing a lot about Orlando City, that they're definitely developing players opposed to teams, which is awesome. But taking it back a little bit,
Hmm.
man. Background, you're Brazilian, right?
No, I was born in Belo Horizonte, Brazil, a couple hours from São Paulo,
Okay.
and I moved over here when I was 9 years old. So when I was in Brazil, I didn't really play for a club or anything. I was just playing for fun, like just like most other kids, like in the streets and everything. So, but when I moved here, that's when I really started taking soccer more seriously. I started joining the little club, Orlando City, and then moving on to different levels.
So for people who don't know, Orlando as a city has a fairly big Brazilian community, right? Like,
Oh yeah,
what's it like being playing for Orlando City as a young Brazilian American kid?
man.
Do you feel like that's
It's
like
I
part of
feel
the
like we're
culture there, like that Brazilian is like is there?
yeah, man. It's great. When I tell you Orlando is basically a Brazil itself, I'm
Yeah.
not even joking. Every corner you walk in, there's a Brazilian. So it's great. I remember the day I made my debut, and I didn't really post. I just reposted one picture on social media, and then the next day I was walking on the street, and there was a couple Brazilian kids shouting out, "Oh, that's Theo Franca over there!" And for the Brazilian culture, I feel like I'm kind of an example, which I love to little kids. I've had little kids come up to me asking me, like, "How do I do this? How do I do that?" And I just love that, because when I was little, I was also one of them. So, I, especially if you're playing for Orlando City here in Orlando, it's a big thing because there's over 1,000 clubs over here, and they all want to make it into that one little Orlando City. So I feel like it's great, and I have to take it. I can't take it for granted.
No, that's awesome, man. Who's some of your like inspiration for as a player?
Oh, for sure, Cristiano Ronaldo. Ever since I was little, only Cristiano Ronaldo. I've liked Neymar. I like Neymar, but my game style kind of I just love the way Cristiano Ronaldo plays.
Yeah. And so, what do you think was like the going through the academy? A lot of people don't realize so very few players make it to an MLS academy. If you were to pick like one thing that was able to separate you from other players, what do you think that was?
I feel like my killer mentality is what stands out a little bit more. Whenever there's a chance 1v1 against a player or a keeper, I always find the best option. I always put it away, shoot it on goal. My 1v1 ability, I think, is very powerful as well. So I feel like my killer mentality is one of the things that stands out the most.
No, I love that answer, man. So I think a lot of people kind of sleep on how much, like, you could practice all you want to, but if you don't have the mentality or like, that like
Mm,
little, thing in the back of your mind, like, yeah, I'm gonna be confident, I'm gonna beat this player. It doesn't matter.
yeah, no,
Man, that's awesome, man. I really think that's super important, especially as a striker. Like somebody told me one time, the two positions where you have to be like a little, overconfident or cocky or even crazy is goalkeeper and striker.
yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah, man. So now that you're in Orlando City, and you're on one of the country's like best teams, you have a crazy striker duo with Ellis. What's it like being on a team with that much eyes on you and that much talent?
Uh, man, it's great. Ellis is outside of the field. Ellis is one of my best friends as well. So me and him have like our communication in the game. I feel like works a lot. There's sometimes during games where I feel like coach can play us in a different position because I feel like Ellis is very talented on the ball for sure. One of the most technical players on the team. And I remember where there's games that he plays as a number 10 and I play as a number 9. We always kill the opponent. So but our team, our team we're a very young team, very a lot of 08s. But with the talent that we have, I think we're probably one of the most talented teams in the nation for sure.
No, I agree, man, and I've been lucky enough to see you guys play live a few times. Um, So getting into the GA Cup, man, how was the experience as far as the games you were actually in? Definitely didn't go the way you wanted to, but I definitely think you guys, put on, a good show and were able to kind of showcase yourselves a little bit.
Yeah, no, for sure. Going into the GA Cup, we just had the mentality to win it all. I'm pretty sure every team was coming in that way. But for us, after the first game, we were kind of a little bit confident. We should have put in 1 or 2 goals maybe against Monterrey. Ended up in 0-0. Went to penalties, beat them. And then second game, it just had a complete turnaround. Red Bulls got the best of us. They're a very good team. Got to give it up for Red Bulls, and they beat us. A lot of things happened. Own goal for our team. Just everything just went downhill. And then third game, our mentality was just all the way down. We were down from that game. So I think Galaxy also took the best of us. And I mean, Galaxy, as you've seen, they were in the final versus Philly, so they're a great team for sure. And but after that, I feel like after that part, after we got knocked out of group, then those rest of the games, I think like we took it not really. We didn't have much pressure, so I think that allowed us to play our game. So that's why after we got knocked out, we started winning some games, and yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Like that can happen, and it's such a quick 60-minute game. If you don't start off you know hot, it could
Hmm.
go it could go the other way. But no, man, you guys were super
Yeah.
impressive though. When you're at that type of tournament and you have every team in the country and then international teams, um, does that you like you mentioned, you're able to gauge yourself. Were you surprised? Like, I've been going to Jacob for 5 years, and I'm every year I'm proud and happy to see our teams competing so well internationally. Do you see any real difference between the MLS teams and the international teams?
Oh, for sure. Especially when we were playing, we played two international teams. We played Monterrey and we played Atlas. And the difference between, I feel like the big difference between the MLS and the international team was just the physicality. You can see that from the teams in Monterrey, they don't have really built players, strongly physical players like us, like in the MLS. But
Mhm.
man, there's some dirty play. I feel like their game plans are like to get into our heads from the first minute. Like
Yeah.
against Monterrey, their first play was stepping on our cleats, like giving us a little elbow in the rib. So they definitely have like I was saying, a killer mindset.
Hmm.
But other than that, I think technically we're there, we're over them. Physically, we're like they weren't expecting MLS teams to go like that. I think they were expecting us to just be technical, but we definitely showed them on the physical side. But other than that, there are some very fast players as well. So Atlas Monterrey had one of the fastest players I've seen in a tournament. So other
Really?
than that, that's yeah, that's one of the differences.
Was there even like other teams that you've seen, like I'm sure you watched quite a few games. Was there any teams that like impressed you, like that you were like, wow, that's they're doing something different?
Yeah, there's two. There's one for the 17 side, which for me was Galaxy. I feel like their game plan was they're very smart. They're a very smart team. They have a lot of individual players as well. Like when we were playing against them, we were getting beat almost every single time on their third. So I feel like whatever game plan they had, I don't know what it was, but it was definitely working. I mean, they made it all the way to the finals. But another team was the Valencia for U15s. I feel like that was probably one of the best teams in the tournament for sure.
Yeah, what's interesting is like you get to see all these different styles,
Uh
and
huh.
the one thing I kind of like about the MLS, I think we're starting to become like a balanced style. Like one thing I see with
Yeah.
France, like when you watch France play, they're more balanced. Where you have like, Spain's tiki taka, right, and Germany's very
Mm.
like like mechanic, and but France is a bit more balanced. Like it's a bit more like flair with tiki taka with and that's how
Yeah.
I start to see the MLS looking like. We it's not all long ball, it's not all tiki taka. It's like a balanced style. Do you
Yeah.
think
Uh huh.
do you agree with that, or what do you think the style is in the MLS?
I agree with that 100%. I feel like every single team in the MLS has a different play style. Um, our play style mostly for J Cup, we started off play some, as you say, some tiki taka, and depending how the game goes towards the end, we start sending them some long balls because obviously I think we have a big advantage. When it was me and Justin Ellis up top, two big guys, so I feel like after we started sending some long balls, we'd see more opportunities and goal because of our physical advantage.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Like I was really surprised how you have a great motor, and you pressing the whole game, along with just fighting for every ball. It created like a different look on the field because it was like even if you were not in the position to score in a game, you were, you were creating a lot of havoc on defense and opportunities for the players around you. Um, do you feel like as a player, like we've seen that with Sullivan, right? Like people kind of were giving him a hard time. Oh, he didn't score, he didn't assist in certain games. But it's like, bro, this kid was everywhere. And the same thing with you. Do people underestimate that as a part of someone's game?
Yeah, I think that's one of the most underestimated things in soccer right now, because they can look at I think most people just look at the stats line, like, oh, 0-0, no one scored, this team doesn't score. But I feel like there's some games where it's gonna be dirty, it's gonna be an ugly game. So sometimes I'm not gonna be there to score, but maybe there's another teammate around me that is. So that's for me. All that matters is obviously I want to score. I'm a striker,
Right,
but
right.
if if there's a other teammate next to me that has a better opportunity than me, he's getting the ball. So basically, I mean, pressing. I've always been a very good defensive player. I've always been ever if I see a center back going down the line, I'm going there to kill him. To get the ball, obviously. But for me,
Love
pressing,
that.
defending is one of my big attributes as well. But when we win the ball, that's just Orlando City. Our play style is just win a ball, play them through, and we just kill them in the final third. Unfortunately, it didn't happen in the first couple games, but after we got used to it, and then after those, we started doing it many times to teams.
No, it's hard, man. With the 60-minute game, 30-minute halves. Was that your first GA Cup, or did you go in U15?
No, this is actually my third J Cup. I went,
Oh,
uh,
wow.
yeah, I went last year, play as a '07 with the '06s for the U17s. We made it to the Final Four. And 3 years ago with U15, which was the year that kind of was my best year, and we got knocked out of group stage.
That's crazy. So, and what's really crazy, I keep hearing talks about it. I don't know if it's official yet or what, but that the MLS might be switching to U18 next year. So possibly you might get to go to another GA Cup. So what's some of your goals for the future, man?
Uh, I think my big goal for the future is just to become a professional soccer player. Um, you know, every player has a different goal. Some people want to go to college, go D1, overseas. I feel like for me, the main goal is just, the big clubs, Like ever since I was little, I've always wanted to go to Real Madrid. So maybe one day that's my dream club.
No, I love that. And I think the MLS is such a great league to allow to allow you to develop at a high level. Where you could
Uh-huh.
stay in the MLS for a few for quite a while, and then make that jump to like you're saying like overseas. What have you seen? Because you've been here for a while and you got to see the academy grow. Um, what is what is your opinion on the MLS where it's at right now? Obviously, having Messi being on the other side, but still having a player like Messi in the league and bringing even other big players into the league now, where you're starting to see a lot of eyes on the MLS. What's it like being a part of that excitement, and your thoughts on that?
Man, it's great. I feel like every academy player is just as excited as a first team player right now because you never know when you get called up for the first team. There's players that train with the first team every week. Like I get called up to the first team to train with them a lot, and you never know when you get your chance because maybe, Orlando plays into Miami and they don't have enough players on the roster for some reason, and they call up an academy player. So I feel like there's a lot of opportunities going on for especially for Orlando, but as as long as the MLS, I feel like MLS is getting to one of the top leagues right now because of how many just players that are coming in, how the competition has gotten way better than before. I remember some MLS games I wouldn't be able to watch it. So now like now it gets me on my feet. So some games really do get me on my feet. So I feel like MLS has gotten really big time now. So yeah.
Yeah. One thing that's also really cool at the GA Cup is, and like you said, everyone has their own route, own path. And one thing that I've seen like this become an amazing platform and really high level is D1 soccer. If you watch those games, they are really impressive. And if you didn't know any better, you would think that you're watching a top league. Um, what was it? What's it like having all for those players that are looking for that path, having a platform like GA Cup where you have literally every single college in the country watching.
Yeah, no, for sure. I feel like my teammates, most of them do want to go to college. So especially before games, like we just not really joke around with them, but be like, hey, this is your time, because we point at them, we show them that like there's I see every single scout there. So for me during the game, I don't really pay attention to that. For me, I just zone out. I don't know what's outside of the game. I just focus in the game. But for the fact that having almost every single college at J Cup, I feel like it's a big, really big opportunity for other players to show what they have. Because maybe that might be their last tournament there. So I feel like if you perform in J Cup, there for sure will be a couple colleges going at you like the week after.
I know, man. It's like a good game at GA Cup could change your life. um, we had
Yeah.
uh, we had Fritz Volmar on the podcast a few weeks ago, and he was saying like he had before the GA Cup he had a few offers, but after the GA Cup he had like 30 offers to D1 college.
Yeah.
You know, when you have that type of
It's crazy.
a tournament that has that type of impact is crazy. Yeah, man.
Oh yeah,
So
it is.
I meant to ask you this about GA Cup. Um, in terms of tournaments like GA Cup, MLS Fest, MLS playoffs, what makes GA Cup so special?
Man, for me, besides obviously the playoffs, J Cup is my favorite tournament, like by a mile, because I feel like just the experience, not only on the field but off the field with your team, 10 days, so it was a great experience. Like just the feeling of, you're far from your parents for a while, for 10 days, and that's really just a team to team moment, to some team bonding, after games. We kind of really got to see how hard it is, because after every game we'd have to go recovery, rest, and then another one, especially because the first 3 games was 3 games in a row. So for us, it was just like I was kind of used to it since it was my third J Cup, but I did see that there's some players on our team that it was their first J Cup. So it was nice having to instruct them a little bit, give them a little details on how it is. Also seeing how the 15s do. Our 15s got knocked out by Valencia, so that's a bummer for them. But just watching our 15s, watching other games in a hotel, it's just a really fun experience. That's why I think all of us really love Jacob.
Yeah, man. There was like moments like when the U15s are watching, and then like the U17s like score something and they celebrate together. It's just like the best like moments in those games. And I was happy because
Yeah,
they had a lot of security there who weren't familiar with soccer, and I seen people from the J Cup were like, no, no, let them celebrate together because that's like it's part of the culture, right? It's like part of the whole
yeah,
what makes the
uh
J
huh,
Cup.
yeah. That's what makes it fun for sure.
So what's next for you, bro? How do you feel like what's gonna take you to the next level, man?
I feel like right now, just keep working. Obviously, there's a bunch of things I can still work on, but we get back in training in 2 days, and that was just a focus for MLS Flex, because our position in the league right now, I think we're in second place. So we kind of do need to take this MLS Flex very seriously if we want to go to playoffs. So my goal right now is just get ready, have a good MLS Flex, recover, because on the second to last game, there was a play where I kind of not tore, but I rolled my ankle, so they thought it was very serious, so they had to take me to the hospital. But turns out it wasn't that serious. So I'm doing good now, just walking,
What's
but just recover, get ready for flex, and then after that, I'm confident that we have a chance to win the playoffs. So just working on that.
Well, I wish you the best of luck, man. And I just want to say before we get off, bro, I really love your game. I love how hard you play. There's some forwards who they save their energy for when they get the ball, and I don't see you take a play off at all. You know, you go hard the whole game. I think you're dynamic, explosive. There was a play. Actually, I think it was versus New York, where you went up for a header, and you didn't score, but the vertical was unreal, bro. It was like it looked like you could dunk, bro. It was crazy. Like it was really impressive, man. So I just wanted to say I'm a big fan. I wish you the best, bro, and keep doing what you're doing.
Hey man, appreciate it. That means a lot, man. I was glad to see you out there after the second game. After I saw you, I was very happy. You know, I've been texting you on social media. Man, you're such a humble guy, such a humble community, and I just keep doing what you're doing because for players like us, this is like it's a pleasure doing this. You know, getting ready for the future, hopefully for many other interviews to come. So this is like a blessing talking to you right now. So appreciate it.
No, absolutely, man, absolutely.